Hi, I'm Dave Munsinger, pastor of Care and Counseling at Cypress Bible Church, and this is one of our educational training videos. Today's topic is finding calm in the corona storm, and I'm with my good friend.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Nichols. I serve here as a licensed professional counselor.
And today we'd just like to take you through a few practical guides, give you some prescriptive measures, take you to the scriptures to help you find calm in the face of anxiety that we're all experiencing here with the coronavirus. We're all about 2 to 3 weeks into it at this point, at the end of March, and it looks like we may have another month of April that we're going to be restricted in our social distancing and our behaviors and our practices, and kids home from school. Concerns about finances are facing most of us. I don't even look at my 401k. I just figure I have to work another 10 years before I can retire. So we're all facing these types of fears and concerns, and we just want to give you some education on how to adjust. And one of the big things, Jennifer, is everybody's normal has been thrown off. We all have to adapt to a new normal, a new way of living, and when our routine is thrown off, it really can cause a very destabilizing relational aspect to life. Our emotions get affected, and that affects our spiritual life. And that's certainly what we're most concerned about, is that we stay spiritually focused on Christ through this, but we can be thrown off by a number of things. So, what's life like for you and your household, Jennifer?
That's crazy. For those of you that don't know, I have 3 boys, a 15-year-old, an almost 12-year-old, and a 9-year-old. So I'm homeschooling all of those kids that I would have never homeschooled on purpose, because I'd like for them to reach their 20th birthday. So it's hard. It's hard. It's hard for everybody. I don't know anyone that's winning at this. Maybe those homeschool moms, maybe they're winning at this right now.
Yes. And at our home, we're just watching a lot of TV, and we're just self-medicating. And I think my wonderful wife Jana goes on about 6 bike rides a day through the neighborhood.
Very smart. Very smart.
So why don't you give us just some practical guides and maybe some prescriptive measures on dealing with the day in and day out of life with corona.
Right. This is really a stressful time, and the number one thing, and Dave kind of mentioned about it, is routines. You need to make sure that you have a regular routine. Even if you thought before you didn't have a very super structured routine, maybe you didn't go into work every single day, but you still had a routine, whether or not you know that you had one. And it's important to redo that, because there's a new normal, as Dave said. There's a new normal now. And so just making that out by hour. I wake up at this time, I do this by the hour, because what we're seeing is people sleeping a lot more, or not getting enough sleep. And we know, research tells us, for our immune systems, for our mental health as well, we need to be getting that sleep. So some other things that you can do are make sure that you're not watching and just over consuming media. There are lots of opportunities for looking at things right now on the media and staying completely plugged in, and that will stress you out, and that will amp up your anxiety. So pay very close attention to how you feel. If you feel like you're getting overwhelmed, step away from that device or that media source and go do something outside.
Turn off the news.
Yes, turn it off. Go ride the bike like Jan is doing. Very good idea. You want to focus on the things that you can control. Right now, one of the reasons why we feel so anxious is because we can't control any of this. But there are some things that you can control, like your hygiene, your sleep, your routine. Those are things you can control. So focus on those things. The next thing that I want to talk to you about is kind of limiting the what if spiral. If you're one of those people that kind of get caught up in the what if the kids don't go back to school, or what if I can't get toilet paper today at the grocery store, if we continue to focus on those what ifs that we have no control over, we can start to spiral, and our thoughts go in places that we don't need to go, and that can damage our spiritual lives. So watch those what ifs. We want to stay connected while being physically isolated. So I saw on Facebook the other day our knitting moms, our moms that knit here at CBC, they were doing a virtual Zoom knit meeting, and I thought that was just so cool. So there are lots of ways to get creative. FaceTime, Duo if you're like me and you're not an iPhone person, but stay connected to people while staying physically isolated.
Yeah, we've been calling our parents and FaceTiming with them. They're up in Austin, so that's been really
Yeah.
an encouragement.
Absolutely, and they know you're checking on them too, so you're able to check on them. Very important. Watch out for who you turn to for emotional support, because emotions can be contagious. So if you find that your good buddy that you always go to is kind of one of those people that amps up and really reacts to things emotionally, you might want to find another person to find that emotional support from during these times. Take care of your body and your spirit. Be kind to yourself. Realize that it's okay not to be okay. I've seen so many wonderful posts on Facebook about people just being completely real. Hey, I'm not doing homeschool today, or my homeschool looked like this today, or hey, I didn't even get up and put normal clothes on today. Just be real. Nobody has any time for trying to pretend to be something that they're not, and that can cause anxiety. It's okay. Right now, we're all figuring this out. It's a new normal, right? Exercise, Dave mentioned that. Go out in nature as much as possible and avoid self-medicating. Except for maybe some Skittles. But we're already predicting in the mental health community that there's going to be an upshoot in alcohol and substance abuse for these times. We have to go where we know we're going to get the right support, and Dave's going to talk about that in a minute, about the CALM acronym that's going to help you out a lot. So with all that said, I have a couple of, actually have about 6 things that are really fun and new and different that I didn't even know about for coping mechanisms. You can take a virtual tour of a famous museum, like the
Louvre.
Like
Let's
the
go,
Louvre,
honey.
like the Louvre. That's right. You can also take a virtual hike through national parks. I did not know this was a thing. You can do that.
Grand Canyon.
That's amazing. I've never been. Gonna get to go now. You can watch live animals on live streams. So wild animals out in the wild. There's a bear cam. The famous one that I knew about was the baby eagles in the nests. They have dolphins that are swimming. All of these are very calming things to do and very easy to access. Also, do nothing for 2 minutes. Have you ever tried that? Dave's excellent at that. I am very good at it as well. So try that. Do nothing for 2 minutes.
Which sounds unusual, but people don't really know how to just be calm and to rest. And it's funny, that's what the scripture teaches us. We need to be observing the Sabbath.
Yes.
We need to just be able to stop and rest and hear his small, quiet voice.
Absolutely, because that's when you're going to hear him. You're not going to hear him when you're, running crazy thoughts through your head. So stopping and being is great. We have also digital libraries. The Harris County Library, I know they have stuff on loan that you can do, like Audible stuff, so that's a great resource. There's also an app called Libby, Libby, that somehow links to the to your regional library system and offers free audiobooks and books to lend out. Guided meditations are great. There's a Calm app, so there again, Calm. We're going to throw that word at you all over the place in this video. It's free. There are some things that you have to buy on there, but you don't have, you don't have to buy. So check that out. And this was very interesting. I had never heard of this. There are GIFs or GIFs, I don't know how to say it right, but there are GIFs, we'll go with that teach you how to deep breathe. We are a shallow breathing society. You'll be surprised if you really pay attention to how you breathe throughout the day and how much you breathe. We don't really do deep breaths like that. So that's really important to help with that anxiety. So that's what I've got, and just make sure that you're okay with not being okay. It's all right that you're riding the struggle bus today. I'm driving it some days, so get on with me.
So one of the ways to remain calm is from the scriptures, Philippians chapter 4, passage we all know and love, verses 4 through 8 of chapter 4, says this: rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice. So in the midst of Corona, rejoice. Find things that you can celebrate about God. Verse 5 says, let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. And this is what the ancients would call practicing the presence of God, is knowing that Jesus is near. He is present. He is in your heart. He is present to you. Know that he is with you. And then from that presence of God that you can practice and observe in your own heart, then be gentle and kind to those who are around you. And it does take more effort to do so. You actually have to think about it because your routine is so far thrown off and there's so much uncertainty. Verse 6 continues, it says, do not be anxious about anything, but but in every situation, by prayer and petition and thanksgiving, present your requests to God. So if you're struggling, ask Him for help. Ask Him to give you peace. Ask Him to give you solutions to your problems. Ask Him to provide financially. Whatever your need may be, ask of the Lord. And then verse 7 continues, the peace of God which transcends all understanding will guard your hearts and mind in Christ Jesus. As Jennifer was talking about all the what ifs, you need to have your mind and your heart guarded, and it's Christ who will do that. And once again, you ask Him to do that. You present your request to Him. There is an interesting or a fun little analogy on this that Max Lucado gives. He says, do you ever take one of your appliances to the appliance repair shop? You can't fix the appliance, but when you go there, you leave the appliance, or say your car, you leave it with the mechanic, and then you go away, you forget about it, you come back a few days later, and it's fixed. But with the mechanic or the appliance repair person, you don't offer to stay and help him, do you? You don't hover over his workbench while he works on it. You don't throw down a sleeping bag and want to spend the night there with the mechanic or the repairman. Why do you do that with the Lord? If you have needs and something that needs to be repaired emotionally, mentally, spiritually in your life, leave it with Him, just like you would your car or your appliance, and just trust that He will guard your heart and He will do His work.
Can I say something real quick about that?
Please.
A really great way of doing that, to physically manifest that leaving of it to God, is to write them down. Even if you're not a big journaler, just write them down. And Dave has a little worry box over here that he could put some things in, but write them down, put them somewhere, put them in a container, and you've given them to God, you're leaving them.
And then it just concludes, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever's true, noble, right, pure, lovely, admirable, anything excellent or praiseworthy, think about these things. And so that's why we recommend turn off the TV, go and look at beautiful things on the internet, or maybe get out some old photo albums, things that are good and pure and true. If you're watching too much Netflix or TV shows, there could be a whole lot of just real trash there and a lot of unbiblical behavior and thinking and words, and that's not going to help you spiritually. I love this little diagram that Max Lucado gives. It's called CALM, and so this is what we mean by remaining calm in the corona storm. Celebrate God's goodness, ask God for help, leave your concerns with Him, meditate on good things. Calm, celebrate, ask, leave, meditate. Jan and I have been practicing this, and so when we start to feel a little bit of stress, we go, okay, let's be calm, let's celebrate God, let's ask Him for help, let's leave those concerns with Him, and now let's meditate on good things. And so this is our very best counsel to you during this corona storm that we're in. We're praying for you. Call one another in the church, text each other, stay up with your friends here at church, be praying for one another. Go to our virtual page and see the different devotions that we have each day and ways that we can still minister to you. And so we just give you our thanks, and thanks for watching.
And we're fighting the good fight with you.